Hi everyone, it's Denise with Wondubar Crafts. I'm back today to do this hollow back spine for my fall themed journal. And I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I did it. I had some comments about, people saying they wanted to see it. They hadn't seen that style before, but it's out there. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there already that show you how to do it. Some people do it in different methods. So really, it's just all about what you're comfortable with doing and the method you choose to use. This one's worked pretty good for me, so I kind of stick to what kind of works. But with a hollow back book, and a lot of people say they've never seen one, most books are hollow back. Like with these Reader Digests, right? If you pull back on the spine outer portion and you can see down, or put your finger in there. Of course, this is a brittle old book. It's from like the 80s, 60s, 80s, something like that. Anyway, you can see, if you can see down it, it's a hollow back. So essentially that's what we're going to do, is we're going to put the book in here, which will, it kind of suspends, if you will. It is attached. It's not going to break free or anything like that. It's just that the back ends, it suspends outward. I know you've seen it. I've done it where you just put the spine directly, glue it directly to the back of the spine, and then that's that. And then you can also put your little gussets here on the side. Whatever, I'm just trying to do something a little different. I don't like to always make my journals the exact same every time. Change them up a little bit, have a little, difference. So this is not obviously the book I am using. I've already got the book boards. This was just used as an example. I love this cover because it's almost Christmassy, and the cover on it is raised. So got like some texture on it. I love it. I haven't gotten around to breaking it apart yet. But anyways, remember my last video I showed you guys that I had wrapped a 2-inch piece of file folder around my paper napkin tube, the empty tube, to give it some curve. And what I did was backed the inside, so if you do happen to look down in there, you'll see some pretty fabric, and also you'll see it from this side as well. So you're not going to be looking down at this. It'll be like this, essentially. So anyway, I did do the cover. I did do it off camera only because this is kind of what I wanted to do with the last journal. But for some reason, it just wasn't coming out the way I wanted it with some other fabric. So, but essentially what I did with this is I took some heavy, it's like a wool fabric on the back. It's green. And then I just took strips of fabric and I sewed down the center and just sewed it on there and then connected. I didn't connect it up and down. I left like the end piece here and here, so that you kind of had some fuzzy texture to it. It would pop out. It would be nice and soft and well, fuzzy, for lack of a better word. But anyways, I just did it in strips up and down, different stuff like yarn and end trims and just whatever, just to make the spine on that, just so that when you grab it, you got that nice soft feel on the back of there. So anyway, when I do mine, I don't put my signature, I don't sew my signatures in first. I do the actual spine to the board itself first. So what we need to do is back this, and I've already marked out kind of where the center of this will go. Okay, and then I marked out a 1/4 inch on each side, so that way I know where to glue that to the outside portion. So essentially, let me find my middle, because this is 4.5 inches which puts it at about, let's see, 2 1/4 in the center there. And then I mark this my top. So this is kind of what we want to do, is lay it down in here like that. And of course, if you wanted, you don't have to put fabric all the way on here. You can maybe, you know, put some lace or some frilly something that sticks up off the top. But since this is already fuzzy there, I didn't want to go overboard with it. It's too much. So, okay, so what we want to do is glue that to the back of that and then let it dry. We don't want to try and glue this here and then try to do everything wet. We're going to do this in stages, so that way nothing pulls apart. Okay, and I did clean it took me an hour to clean out the tip of this glue. I apparently couldn't figure out why it wasn't coming out of the tube so well after I had thinned it. It was just still stuck in there. I had a big old glob, I guess, in the very tip. It was just allowing a little bit of glue to come out, and it was like, why isn't it coming out? That is why. So it took me about an hour to get it all cleaned up and ready to rock and roll here. So I want to make sure I put enough glue on this, because, you know, this is our spine. This is going to hold the back part of our, oop, don't get on there, our fabric to the book boards, and we don't want it to come off. So don't be liberal with the glue. All right. Like I said, I did mark it. Get that over there so that it's, and we kind of want it to adhere, but we don't want to push too far because, like I said, I've got a curvature. Now you can do this in a flat back too, but I want to try and keep that curved portion back there of the spine. So, and then what we're going to do is pause the camera and let it dry. But before I do that, I just want to say hi and hello to my new subscribers, and welcome back to my regulars. And I hope everyone is doing all right. It is, the news said it's supposed to snow Tuesday. I'm like, what, already? It was just spring and fall, it seems like. Or, you know, spring and summer, and then fall just kind of came, and it's like, where did it go? I'm not ready for the snow yet. No snow allowed. Okay, so I'm going to let this, I'm going to flip it like this and just let it kind of dry, keep its form. And as soon as it is done, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay guys, I am back. We've had some time to let this dry. I don't know if I had mentioned before, but how I came up with the measurements, and I just wanted to kind of make it clear. I don't know, I don't remember if I did or not. So I'm repeating myself if I did. If not, here we go. What I did was, my spine is going to be 2 inches. So I cut my backing piece here 2 inches. Then I added a 1/4 inch for the gusset on either side, so that will add 1/2 inch. And then I did 1 inch additional to be able to attach it to the book cover. And the reason why I did 1 inch is this cover is 1 inch, so I don't want it to cover too much of the book, just enough to cover over where that one plate was before for the binding, the spine binding before. So it ended up being, what, 4.5 inches. Okay. Now I noticed that I've got some area here that didn't quite get glued, so I want to go ahead and lay that. Make sure that we're all attached in here, because I don't want it pulling away, obviously. Ugh. Sorry guys. It was crazy. I no more than paused the video, and I got like 3 phone calls right in a row. I've been waiting for a dumpster to find out if the trash company had an extra dumpster they could deliver, because we've got to get some stuff cleared out of my mom's house because we got it sold. So of course now we're trying to get rid of everything and store what's left until everything finishes with probate. So it's been kind of crazy. Okay, so that is down. Now, what I had done earlier was I went ahead and marked where my 1/4 inch from there is. Okay, so, but just to show you guys what I did, and it's simple. It's nothing, you know, wow, you know, the whole wow factor. You just take a 1/4 inch from, let me see if I can move this so you guys can kind of see the grid on the mat here. So if I lay that against one of my grid lines, I'll take this ruler and just add a 1/4 inch to the end of it. If I can get it lined up here, because I already marked it. You can, I don't know if you can see the mark. I can see it okay with no issue, but I know sometimes on camera it doesn't always come out. So, but it is easier if you do this before, and like I said, I've already done it, but that's what I did. And then you just mark your line down there. Same thing with this side. I marked it, which I don't know if you guys can see. It is kind of hard for me to see a little bit, so I'll just kind of go over it a little bit. And it doesn't have to be, you want to make it as close as possible. If it's not perfect, it's okay. You know, get it as close as you can. With practice, it becomes much easier and easier and easier and better and better and better that you get with it. So, anyway, just so you guys don't think that I'm skipping steps. So this is essentially what I'm going to do, is I'm going to glue this portion on, and I'm going to leave that 1/4 inch right there. So we have that little gusset. And what that's going to allow is the spine to have a little movement on it, so it doesn't, it's not constantly pulling on the bookend and break away. And so this is my front cover, yes. Let me put my paper back down. My poor mat has seen better days. I know it doesn't look that dirty, but it bothers me, it does. So I'm gonna have to take it downstairs and get the scrubby brush and scrub it all off. Okay. And it is easier to put it on the book end than it is on the fabric side, because then you get all the little fuzzies stuck to your glue. Oh my goodness. Okay, so just carefully place that on there. So you got about a 1/4 inch gusset there. And because I measured it to come out to the end here, I'll know exactly. I just want to make sure that it covers that. Okay. And then lay that flat. Actually, I'm going to take a couple of binder clips and just kind of clip it down here, just to make sure it doesn't slip. I love this book cover. I did it. I kind of gotta say, I kind of patted myself on the back. Is that wrong to do? I like it. I love the texture of it. Just, that's what I was kind of picturing to do with the last one, and it just, I think it's because the last one I had fabric down the center, and I was trying to do that around the side, and with putting that on the inside, you lost everything. So I it's still been stuck in my head, and it's like, I gotta do something, I gotta do something. It's still stuck. So I decided to do it with this one. And I apologize if my voice sounds like it's cracking and it's kind of going in different pitches. I think I am. I don't know if I'm getting sick. I mean, I'm not feeling lousy, but it could just be that because my mom's house has sat over there for a bit, there's a lot of dust, and we've been just, you know, moving stuff here and there, and it could just be that. But so I'm hoping that's all it is. I hope I don't get sick. I don't like getting sick. Because then I get all these ideas, and then I don't feel motivated to do anything, and I hate getting sick. Let me get a white A here so I don't stick to all the fabric. All right, and then place this one. On there. And then just make sure it lines up against that. There we go. Bring it down a little bit. And that is that. And of course, this video, I will have to do this in stages because you want everything to dry kind of before I put attach the inner part of the spine in there. So this is essentially it, and then you've got your gusset over here. This side looks like it's off a little bit though. It's like it's too much. Let's pull that in a little bit. There we go. Because we don't want too much. We want to try and keep it as close to that 1/4 inch as possible, so that when this part gets glued in, it's will now have a hollow back in here where you can see in there. So, and I like that, so that you can kind of look down, and that's why I cover it with fabric, so when you can look down in it, you can actually see the fabric down there, and it still stays within the book. So we're getting there, almost done. So, and then the fun part comes where you get to fill it and do all that stuff. So I am going to pause. I'm going to let this sit and dry. Okay, so that I still have my rounded curve here. So I will be back as soon as it is dried. Okay guys, I am back. And I'm pretty sure this is dry. I hope it is anyway. And if you're wondering about this portion, that was the tip-in pages from the book when it was together on the Reader's Digest, and I'm going to cover that. It will get covered with my new tip-in pages, so I'm not too worried about it. What I did was, when I took it apart, this portion here was the old glue mesh that they used for their own tip-in for that. So, and like I said, you can do this with those. You can buy that glue mesh if you prefer. I find it is a messy business to try and do that. So I just prefer using fabric when I'm going to do this. And you will, if you're going to do a hollow back, you will want something that does tie in there. I want to have a sari closure, so I will have to cut a piece of sari for that and get it ironed out, which I should have done before I turned the camera back on. But that's okay. But I just wanted to show you that it is on there. It's attached. This is my top, because I remember that my leaf is going downward. And so let me grab a piece of sari so I can glue that in there, and it'll be in place. And I'll be right back again. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. I should have been more prepared. Anyway, I cut a piece of sari and I ironed it out. It is, let's see, 20. 40, about 50 inches in length. Okay, that gives me enough to, as you can see, when it goes in here, it will extend out so that I can tie it off. Okay, so what I am going to do is mark about the middle portion of, I found my pencil here. Okay, about the middle of the book, so that way it's centered. It doesn't have to be immensely perfect, but you want to try and get it as close as possible. So we're looking at about, let's see, almost a little over 7.5. So let's see, what is that? Half of that is 3.5, 3 3/4, and then we've got about 1/8 of an inch. So we'll go 1 notch up. That's about center there, and we'll do the same size. Same thing here. 7 is 3.5. And then another 1/4. Oh, did I do that wrong? I might have done that wrong. Okay, 7.5 is 3.5, 7. Okay, okay, yeah, no, that's right. And then another notch. So I know I'm a little weird on the math thing. So what it essentially is my book cover is, let's see, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What is that, 5/8? Yeah, 7 5/8. So I'm just trying to find the middle point. So 3.5, 1/4, and 1. And this, of course, all the marks will get covered over with the ribbon and the tip-in page. Okay, 1/2, 1/4, and 1. There we go. So now I know kind of where to lay it. And where to lay my glue. So here's where I want to do is I'm going to put just a little bit before and after that mark, because my sari silk is about 1.5 inches thick. So I just want to kind of tap it in there a little bit. Just eyeballing it. I'm going to fold my sari in half. And if you get your sari in the long skeins, you'll see that they're sewn together. Just make sure that if you get a piece like that, that it's actually lays onto the book plate itself. It's much easier to cover and give more stability. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay that in there about the halfway mark, like so. See how that piece is going to lay right in there, and that's where I want it. So pull it just a little bit over. Oh, I want to make sure I fill that gusset, okay, because you don't want to put too much strain on the gusset either. So all right, and then all I got to do is lay a couple beads down. Just to tack it in place, because our tip-in page will cover over the top of it, but then it will come out from the tip-in for your tie-in, your tie-off, if you're going to do that. If not, then go ahead and if you're going to do like a hitch post closure or something of the sort, now is the time to do it. possible. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to put a tassel on this one. So I want to go ahead and put an eyelet in there now so I'm not having to try and fish anything and pull anything apart. I'm thinking I'm going to use a black one, I think, in here. Okay, and then I want to kind of put it in the middle portion. So 2.5. Put it right about the 1-inch mark. Right there's my center. And I'll poke a hole. Hopefully I can get a hole poked with this. I have not used this like this before on such thick fabric, so hopefully it'll work. Oops, sorry. Oh, went right through, look at that. All right. And then I'm going to close it off. This way, because I bought these little key rings with the lobster claws on them, and then I'm going to hang my tassel on here so you can take it off or on, you know, in the way you like. But I like having that option. Okay. Oh, hopefully that will hold. This way a little bit. There we go. And then I will put a couple little, because it'll hook in there, but I don't like that it sticks out like that. So I'm going to put a couple jump rings on it. So let me find my jump rings real quick. Okay, I had to dig them out. I have some other ones, but they're all small, and I want to put a bigger one on there too. So I'm just going to use these little, Tim Holtz ones, if I don't lose them all over the floor. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see. Let's put, pull 2 out and a big one, just in case. Because I'm thinking the small one, and I want a big enough one so that the claw, because I think the claw will go through the smaller one, but yeah, it will. Okay. We're going to hook a big one on there first, so let's hook our 2 small ones. Hook the small one and the big one. Oh, goodness. I'm having dropsy days, dropsy days. Okay, let me just grab another one. I don't know what is going on. I got the shakes really bad today. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm hungry. It's probably because I'm hungry. I ate breakfast and then I kind of skipped lunch a little bit. I know. Bad girl. Bad girl. Alright. And then I'm going to take the big one and hook the big one on up there. Actually, I think I can probably open it with my fingers. Slip it in there because I want it to come up. Let's just make sure it's closed off good. Here. Alright. you? Where are you? Little opening. Sorry, I'm not. It's kind of rude to sniffle like that, huh? All right. We closed off here. It's hard to do when you got the shakes. Okay, there we go. All right, so this will allow, and I'll probably decorate, put something else that hangs there so that you'll have something there if you don't want the tassel on it, but then you can clip the tassel on. Okay, so we'll take that off for now. And goodness, doesn't want to, I gotta put these in my jewelry thing anyway, so I just want to cover them up and set them aside. So I'll pull those back later. All right, let's move on. Okay, so now this is attached in here. Now what I want to do is attach my signatures, the signature spine, to the book. And I pulled out all my little tassels at the end to make sure they're not sticking anywhere. And we're not going to glue the back. The back doesn't get glued to this portion. We're going to glue this fabric portion. But we have to make sure that it stays even in there. But we're gonna glue all that down, okay? And our tip-in page will cover over the top of it, and I'll show you how I do that as well. So let me situate this so I don't get glue all over my signatures. Don't want to do that. All right. So I'm just going to lay some glue down on the fabric. You can do it the other way if you so choose. I just find it's easier from this perspective. That way I know that my fabric is all going to get covered, and hopefully it doesn't stick too bad to the fabric and get little gluey or little fuzzies all over my glue. Alright, so this is my top. I want to make sure my signature goes in that way. So this is my first signature. I know it's right side up. I'm just going to attach the back. I'm just going to carefully kind of guide it in place here. And because the glue is wet, we can maneuver it a little bit. So your back spine piece, when I cut it, it's 2 inches, so I just want to line it up. Make sure it's lined up in there. Okay. And everything should just fall into place, and then I'm just going to press down here. Hopefully y'all can see that. That little piece of fabric is turned under. I don't want it to, I want it to lay as flat as possible. Okay. Alright, take my ruler and just kind of flatten it out. Kind of get that glue to smear in there, and there is a 1/4 inch gap between my spine and where I laid, so that way it evens up there. Okay, keep it nice and even here. Make sure that lays nice and even, because you will get some pull on it. That's what you want, is to make sure that it's all even, so that this part of my spine and the inner part of my spine are evened up. Okay. All right. And I'll have that little 1/4 inch gusset in there. And I'm just going to clip it down into place here. All right, and then I want to do this side. So oh, I'm trying to take the cap off and the cap's already off. You guys are probably laughing your heads off with me right now. Or at me, I should say. And that's okay, you can laugh at me. I'm alright with that. Alright. So I hope everyone is doing alright. I don't know if the weather is changing so dramatically where you guys are, but it is cold here all of a sudden. I am not looking forward to snow. I just don't like it. It's pretty, don't get me wrong. I just don't like to shovel it. So if it accumulates enough and I have to shovel it, it stinks. It stinks. What I need to do is find a neighborhood kid who's looking to earn some cash. Okay, so now at the bottom part, I'm just evening that up so that everything is even on there. Okay. Ooh, that's a gluey mess, huh? Got some glue on my fingers. And that's okay, because all this is going to get covered up anyways with the tip ends. I just want to make sure everything is even. And then I have my little gusset here. So and it gives it room to open and close. Okay. And if you hear my tummy, it's probably because it's past lunch and I didn't eat. I really want to get this done. Okay. I'll pull this down a little bit more because it's not quite even. There we go. And like I said, once this dries and I can put my tip in and all that gets covered up. And it helps add a little bit of stability. Okay. Okay, so got a little gusset in here. So when I close it, you can see where the gusset is. And same thing here. Got my 1/4 inch. And now it's got a rounded back spine and it's hollow backed. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to let it dry completely. Make sure everything is even. And then I can put my tip in. Then we can do the tip in pages. All right, so I will be back. I know there's a lot of short breaks and back and forths, but this is a process and you kind of got to wait for all the glue to set and stuff like that when you're doing this sort of thing. So, anywho's, I will be back here shortly. Okay, guys, I am back. Sorry, I had my camera all tilted every which way, knocking into it, trying to do this and that. So while that was drying, I made a little tassel to clip on the spine. And it's got all kinds of different fall yarn and ribbon. And I put some little beads in here. One says fall, one says harvest, one says autumn, and another one says leaves in it. So in there, so that'll clip on the back of the journal. Okay, so now everything is dried. It's been a couple hours. I went and did some other stuff while I was waiting. So now it's time to do the tip-in pages. Now when you get to this stage, you're going to see it's a little wobbly, and that's okay. That's what you want. Once you do your tip-in page, everything will stay really secure and in place. But you need to have that little bit of wobble for your hollow back, okay? So what I did was I decided on using these as my tip-in pages. This comes from my friend Amy at Crafty Cat. This is her Fall is in the Air journal, her digital kit. I will leave that linked below. Okay, and so what I've done is I cut them so that they're both the same, and I want them to go the same direction. So this is the direction I'm going to go. I've already measured where I want to put it. We're not going to go to the very end of the book. Okay, see how this tip-in page comes in a little bit? That is how my pages are cut as well. So I want it to match up to the size of this, but be able to cover this. And luckily, haha, my pages are exactly the same size as this. So this, when we put it in place, when we glue it in here, it will cover that, and then it will be the last page of the journal. Okay, we're not going to fold it, but you will want to cut these down to size. I always leave the length a little longer, and the reason is it looks like it's going to be longer than the page, but by the time we're going to crease it in here, it should come out to very close to the end of those pages. If it is longer, it's much easier to mark and get it into my cutter at this point once it's in and get it measured than it is to try and measure it from here to here and add this and add that. To me, it just makes it easier to do this. So what we're going to do is I am going to glue to here, and then I'm going to get it all smoothed out and then work our way in from there with the tip in. So and you'll be able to tell because here's like my gusset that we put in there, that 1/4 inch gusset. That's where I'm going to put the glue to. And I don't want it to go to all the way to the edge. We just want it to come to where that other tip-in page from the previous book or the previous pages were in there before we took it apart. So I'm going to glue to there. I'm not going to take it all the way to the edge, or try not to at least, because when we smooth it out, some of that glue is going to come oozing out a little bit. So we don't want to keep it as unmessy as possible. Is that a word, unmessy? But I want enough glue to keep these tip-in pages in place. So, okay. And I want to make sure, where is my ruler? There it is. It's ready to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it flat, and I'm just going to lay this over the top, so we're kind of nice and even here. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay it. I'm not going to put a crease in it yet. I'm just going to lay it down there, kind of get it in place, and then I'm going to take my ruler and we'll work that glue back up, because we're going to need some of that glue in that gusset. Okay, move it up and then move it back down, because some of this glue is going to come out at the edge, and I want to keep it off my tip-in as much as possible. Okay, and sometimes it shifts a little bit, and that's okay because the glue is still wet. You can shift it back and just work with it and play with it as much as you can. All right, and yes, you're going to get some glue here, but that's okay. It's not going to do anything bad to the sari or anything like that. And then I'll take an eraser around these edges once that glue dries and get all that glue off the edge there. Okay. That is one thing I do like about Fabri-Tac. is that it will ball up, come off. And the eraser just kind of helps it ball up a little bit if you can't get your finger on it to pull it off. So. I know some people buy those little, I think it's like Glue Be Gone or something like that on there, but I don't know. Eraser works okay, so I just use it. All right, so there's that portion is there. Now, I don't want to fold it. I'm just going to bow it back, and then I'm going to glue in that edge back here, and then into the gusset. Okay, and then just a little bit, probably about 1/8 of an inch onto my spine. Okay, and some people do glue this to that page, and you can certainly do that if you want. I don't like to do that. Okay, now this is where the ruler comes in handy, because I can get down into that groove and glue, get that paper down into that gusset. You might have to work with it for a little bit. That's okay. Just work it. Just work it, work it, work it. Okay. Now, I'm going to use my finger, and this is where I'm going to crease it. I'm just going to lay my finger in there and run it in there. Okay. And then I can take my ruler and kind of, it's almost like scoring it in a way without making an actual crease in there. So now I can just fold it a bit, make sure it's even here in there, but I'm not going to push it and like make, you know how you to make it a hard crease. I'm not going to do that, because I just want it to tip in to the edge there. Okay, and then it should have grasped the edge of my page, but I am going to double make sure by just putting a thin bead down in there. Just want a very thin, very, very thin bead, okay, because I don't want it sticking to my page. So, because there was enough glue from the gusset that when you push it up, it's going to glue it right to that edge of that last signature there. I hope this is making sense for you guys. Okay, so as you can see, it's not a hard crease in there, but there is a crease. All right, and that's what I want it to do, is to line up right next to that page. And as you see, that last page is just a little smidgen, just a smidgen longer. And that's okay, because I'm going to cut it with using my cutter. And I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay. So, let me let that glue set, and then I'm going to work on the front. Alright, so I want to make sure that it's going the same direction. Alright, as this, so we got to go this way. Okay. And the great thing is, even with this, even if I put it the other way around, you probably wouldn't notice that much. Alright, so get some of these little string pieces cut off here. And we're going to do the same thing. to the edge and down. And this total process to allow everything to dry, I would say it's been, 3, maybe 4 hours, just to make sure everything gets dried before I move to the next stage. Not 3 or 4 hours in between each drying, but, you know, like 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that. Just check it periodically. And then, of course, I had a couple phone calls in there, so it's a day-long process for this one. Normally, I'll be working on other things, like I made the tassel. Wow. And I did do this journal kind of backwards, because normally I will do my signatures. One of the first things I do is my signatures, and I get them sewn into the spine. Then I work, my ephemera kind of is one of the last things I do before I do my spine. But I decided I want to try something different, so. A lot of glue coming out of this one. I want to try and get it off of there before it dries, so it's not as much. It seems to be easier to get it off now than once it dries, because then once it's dried, you kind of got to really pick at it to get it off. Okay, so we're going to fold this over. Oops. Fill my gusset, and then just a little bit, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch past, because some of this glue is gonna push in a little bit, so and come out and go wherever, and see, it's already coming out over here. Grab a white A. Sticky fingers. Oh no, I knocked the camera. Alright, sorry. So I get this straightened back out a little bit. Slowly, slowly. There we go. Sorry. Oh my gosh. I hope I didn't make anybody sick. Alright, let's put that in there. Okay. And then crease that with my finger to where it's right there where my page kind of connects. I'm going to fold it over, make sure that my sides are even here. I'm not going to fold it, like press it all the way down. I'm just giving it a slight fold. Just a smidge in there. Ooh, I got glue in there. Okay. See, now this side, just a smidgen longer too. Just a little bit though, not much. And what I want to do is try and make sure that these signatures are lined up. So you might have to shift it just a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then let's check and see. Put a little bit of glue down in here. So that it just touches the page. In there. Alright, so now my tip ends are in there, and let's see, I'm going to do this one side here because this side's pretty well dry. And this is what I do. So, my page, even though I've got this ruffle coming out, and I could leave it like that. I could, because the ruffle comes out. It's just a little smidgen longer than actually, now that it's sitting with the front and back. Oh, it's the back one. That one needs to come off just a little bit. So I would say probably about a 1/4 inch. Yep, about a 1/4 inch. So what I am going to do is put it in here and line it up and take off about a 1/4 inch. I don't know how well this might work if you have a big slicer, but for me, the little one works great. So, all right, let's see. All right. Yep, we did it just a little uneven, but that's okay. Because typically I would have this really close to me so I can see it. It's a little harder because I'm trying to get it on camera and work it, but we can do this. All right, so get this lined up in here. There we go. Now we're even. Ta-da! And now my tip-in page is there. Tip-in page in the front doesn't need to be cut. There we go. All right. And then we've got a hollow back here. So if it alligators out, you'll still be able to see the alligator in here. You can obviously push it back. It's however you want to store it, and it has a nice rounded corner. Ooh, nice rounded spine. And as it, like I said, as you fill it, and you might get some alligatoring in there, you've got a hollow back that'll help to hold it in place. Okay, but really, you know, I don't see a huge difference between. I like the hollow back because that's typically how books are made. They're made with a hollow back on it, hollow back spine. But there isn't anything wrong with, if you're not confident enough or you don't want to do the extra steps, to just glue it simply to the back part of the spine too. That works. Get some of these little stranglies out of here. There we go. And then, so now I can, of course the journal still has to be filled, and I got to do all my tuck spots and all that in my signature yet, which I will do off camera, and I can trim those down a little bit, but I always make it long, so I'd much rather trim a few pieces off than to have it too short and it not work. And then this gets clipped here. You got a nice fuzzy and a dangly if you want it. You can take it off if you don't like it. I might add a little charm up here just so it has something when it comes off. Of course, you can always take this off and it'll be pretty hidden that there's a eyelet there. But that's it. That's how I do my hollow back spines. I hope this helps you guys out. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can leave me a comment here, or you can always comment on my Etsy, and I'll respond to either one. Give it a try. Give it a go. At least try it once if you have never done a hollow back. They're fun. They're pretty, you know, and really it looks like a book. So, but that's it, guys, for this video. I'm not sure if I'm going to be back before the flip through of it. We'll see. I'm going to try and get stuff put in here, and I've still got to make, I think I'm going to make 2 zipper pouches for this one because there is quite a bit of ephemera, and then I want to add some extra fabrics and some stuff that can be used to embellish additional tags and stuff like that in there, and some charms and that kind of stuff. So anywho, with that being said, I'm going to get off here because I'm now rambling and just going on and on and on. I hope this helps, guys. Until next time, plenty of hugs, loves, and blessings. Mwah. Bye, guys.